Okay, so the purpose is to learn about the Muller AO classification. So the classification is a classification of fractures. For each fracture, there is a label it gives. The classification is based on three things. One is the localization of the fracture. There is two numbers to describe the place of the fracture. For example, here in the humerus, the proximal segment is marked as 11, the diaphyseal segment is 12, and the distal segment is 13. And the type, meaning it's extra-articular, so it will be A, partial articular, so it will be B, and complete articular, so it will be C. Um, okay, and inside the A, B, and C, we have subgroups. You see, like A1 is the ulna, but the radius is intact. A2 is radius with simple and impacted, and A3 is in the radius and multifragmentary. Okay? Yes, this classification is for the radius and ulna, but we said that it depends on the localization. Here, it just talks about ulna and radius, distal root, ulna and radius. So we have the localization that the radiology assistant will not talk about. So we have types, we had groups. So let's go over them. So A, again we are in the distal radius and distal ulna. So A1 is when the ulna is broken, but the radius is intact, and all the A fractures are extra-articular by definition. B are partial articular fracture, namely the fracture line goes to the articular surface but does not include all the articular surface. And C is complete articular fracture of the radius. So you can see that the fracture line goes throughout all the articular surface. So A, in the mildest form, it's only the ulna, goes to radius simple or impacted, and goes to radius multifragmentary. B starts with radius sagittal, like here, and you can see the fractures here. Yeah? It's just ulna. It's radius simple or impacted, and it's radius multifragmented, and the ulna, of course, can be involved. B partial articular fracture, you can see B1, which is sagittal, B2, which is frontal dorsal rim, and B3, which is frontal volar rim. Okay, so C is a complete articular, metaphyseal simple is C1, metaphyseal multifragmented C2, articular multifragmented is C3. Okay, this is the classification of Muller in relation to distal radius and distal ulna from a radiology assistant. We can give names for fractures, and as written here, this classification system allows for a consistent and detailed description of a fracture using defined terminology, working in and understanding the injury and planning treatment. This is the purpose of Muller AO classification. So we can know exactly on which fracture we are talking about. And the relation to the articular surface, it's quite important. Intra-articular fractures are quite more complicated than extra-articular surface. Therefore, extra-articular is A and intra-articular complete is C. Okay, that's it. That's about the Muller AO classification and distal radius and ulna from radiology assistant also.